MIT is in Boston, is in Cambridge, excuse me. So what you'll see on the far side of the river is Boston, and then on the near side is MIT, is Cambridge, and this is sort of the center of campus. Not very attractive. Look at Yale's picture, it's a really nice campus. Okay? Those of us who are living on campus in dorms will probably live on this side, and those of us living in fraternities or sororities will live on the far side of the river, and we go across the bridge every day, no big deal. Totally cool social life. Boston's packed with interesting things. Okay, so the great thing about MIT, and MIT's sort of motto is using technology to change the world. So there is basically this new Poverty Action Lab, and we're using technology, smart technology, efficient technology to help developing countries. Okay, so MIT's general goal is to change the world. The Energy Initiative. This is Susan Hockfield. She's the president of MIT, and obviously Obama. And two of MIT's core goals from 2010 to 2020 is solving the energy problem. So we do it through engineering, economics, architecture, science, everything's sort of fused together in an interdisciplinary way. And solving medical problems through engineering. And that's sort of my background, so if you guys have questions about that later, I'm happy to address it. All these schools, Yale, Harvard, MIT, very, very diverse. About 35% of MIT students are first generation. They're the first generation to go to college, and I believe something like 45% do not speak English at home with their families. They speak a different language. So, anybody seen the movie 21 about the blackjack? That was my time. I won't tell you if I know the people or not. But again, using geekiness, dorkiness to sort of take on the world. Okay. Eric Landers is the head of the Genome Project, and he's running what is the only Harvard-MIT true collaboration to solve all sorts of medical problems through engineering. And I've read this book, probably most of you have not, but this gentleman is an author. He lives in New York, but he teaches on campus at MIT in the Humanities Department. It's an excellent book about the Dominican Republic. 80% of undergrads at MIT do research. Unlike in Israel, where there's no time or there's just no emphasis, you either get credit for it or you get paid for it. So by the time you graduate, I had 3 different jobs in 3 different labs. Okay, so this sort of epitomizes MIT. You've got like this cool robot funky thing that's going on. It's part of class. You spend like, let's say, 200 hours in lab, and then all of a sudden you compete against your classmates. Totally fun, hands-on, lots of gizmos. This is MIT for you. The spacesuits. We have a couple of labs on campus that are working on a smart spacesuit. Very involved with NASA. Again, a lot of activity on site. MIT sent me to Africa, sent me to South America, and recently I was just sent to Singapore with MIT-related research. So really, really cool way to go for free. Department. So we had engineering. There's architecture school, which is top ranked. Economics is also very well respected with its business school. And then obviously, I'm sure that he'll speak about this, but all the different extracurricular activities that these schools have. But we have this very strong humanities department, not comparable to Yale. Yale just stands out. There is a big emphasis, especially in the last 10 years, to send students abroad. I went to Africa for 9 months as an undergrad. There's an exchange between MIT and Cambridge University in England, and several other exchange programs, MISTI Japan, Israel, Singapore, what else am I missing? France, Germany. So students are back and forth from MIT all the time. Again, this is very common with all the other schools as well. Lots of sports, lots of intramural, so non-competitive, intercollegiate competitive. So only within the university, and then we have varsity sports. So I rowed crew, and I played on the soccer team, and did various other activities while I was at MIT. So this is sort of the big dome. This is what MIT is sort of known for, and then the sort of green yard front. Running from that, like from either direction, is what we call the infinite corridor, and it's a really, really, really long hall, and you see all your friends. It's like high school, good or bad. Again, going back to the hacks, I don't remember what year this was, but a bunch of people got together and put a police car, a full police car, on top of the dome. And the whole idea is, can you not attract attention? Will the police stop you or not? Here they didn't. Okay, another funky hack. I think this has to do with the lunar module landing on Mars. Okay, so MIT is a very welcoming, open place. You can, if you're interested, and you can get to Boston, we certainly will set you up. You can do an overnight with a student. There are obviously tours that most schools have, and you're definitely welcome to sit on a class and ask questions and sort of move around freely. Everything about MIT's application is online. Okay, everything is online. Your interviewer, which is in the green box, they'll have your information, who's supposed to be interviewing you. Most likely my name will pop up, and then based on geography, I'll assign you to somebody. If you live in the south, if you live in the north, whoever's closer to you. But everything essentially is online, and we'll discuss application details afterwards. Okay, so like Harvard, Yale, all the other schools, there are multiple parts of the application. There's usually just part one where you pay a certain fee and fill out your biographical information, and then you start writing essays. MIT is different from Yale in the way the application is set up, and afterwards I'll highlight that at the end so you can see where the differences are. Recommendation letters, again, we can talk about this later, but you'll need several of them. In Israel, very important to note, you do not see your recommendation letters. You do not read them. You do not receive them in an open format. Your recommender either sends them straight to the university, or they're given to you in an envelope, sealed with a flap, signed over. Okay? You have to sign on your recommendation forms that you waive your right to read your recommendation letters. If you've read them, it has less value. A recommendation letter is not, Moshe is the greatest guy ever, he worked very hard, I highly recommend him. It's more like, Moshe's hat fits his head really well, he's totally dynamic, when he walks into the room, everybody turns towards him, and these are the reasons why. Okay? So, if your manager at McDonald's knows you really well, that's a better recommendation letter than the president of a country. Okay? You want a good personal recommendation letter. Oh, sorry, and interview. We'll talk about this later. MIT has different interviewing policies than some of the other schools, but in general, in most of the cases, the interviewers are just trying to help you get in. We are representing the admissions office around the country, around the world. So it's our job to help you get in. It's not an intimidation factor. We're not testing you. At MIT in particular, there are no questions, there are no riddles. We just want to get to know you. So you come and you share your passions, you share your excitement about life in the world, and we'll hopefully write a good recommendation to help you get in. So how MIT is different, and obviously this will come back later, the common application for schools, MIT is not part of it. Okay, so when you fill out the common application, you won't be covering MIT. You need to go and fill out MIT specific application. Online, there are blogs. Students write uncensored blogs. Nobody's watching, reading their blogs and saying, oh, you can't write that. They're telling you exactly what they think. Okay, there are admissions officers, there are financial aid officers, there are lots of different blogs. I follow them. I learned so much about MIT this way. Definitely take a look. They're kind of interesting. MIT only requires SAT 2. You do not need SAT 1, unlike other schools. Again, only SAT 2. You need to take one of the math. It doesn't make a difference. You need one science. It doesn't make a difference. And you need to do the TOEFL. Okay? If you're so good at English that you don't want to take the TOEFL, you can take the SAT 1 plus the SAT 2. I would recommend taking the SAT 2. You're foreign students, most of you, and it's to your advantage. MIT, unlike other schools, requires every student 2 semesters of math, 2 semesters of physics, 1 semester of chemistry, 1 semester of biology, 8 semesters of humanities classes, plus your department requirements. Okay, so MIT is obviously focused on the engineering sciences. Even if you're in economics or a linguistics major, you still must do these core classes. Everyone must complete them. It's fun, all the freshmen take them together. Freshman year is pass, no record, so if you don't pass your classes, it will never show up on your syllabus for the first semester, or on your curriculum, on your course record. Second semester is A, B, C, no record. So if you get a D, it'll never show up. Nobody will ever know that you got a D in a class. That's the beauty of freshman year at MIT. They encourage you to try all sorts of activities. It's a stressful environment to begin with, so MIT encourages you to explore besides academics.